lesson, we're going to look at the chamfer curves command. If you'd like to follow along, you can open the file chamfer curves in Chapter 5 of your Working Files menu. To access the chamfer curve command, we go to the Curve menu and select Chamfer Curves. By default, the distance is set 1, 1, which means it's going to chamfer the curve 1 millimeter or 1 unit to the left and 1 unit to the right. By default, join is set to no. I'm going to click on that and set that to yes, as I want these to join. And let me just go ahead and click on this curve and this curve, just like we did with the fillet curve command. So right away, it draws a chamfer for us. And let's zoom in on that and take a look at what that 1, 1 for chamfer size means. So we have an equal chamfer, and if I grab the dimension tool here, snap to this point, and then this point, and drag that out, you can see there's 1 and 1. So when you see the 1, 1, you're simply telling it to move the chamfer 1 unit on one side and 1 unit on the other side. Let me go ahead and do a couple of undos here to get that corner back. Let's apply the chamfer again. And this time, let's change the distance. This is a little bit different than the fillet curve command. I can click on the distance and it'll walk me through, and you can see it's asking for the first chamfer distance. I'll do a 3, hit enter, and now it's asking for a second chamfer distance. Let me hit 5 and enter. So now you can see our distance says 3, 5. Whichever line I click first is going to get the 3 millimeter distance applied to it. So I'll click this line and then this line, and it's drawn the chamfer. And let's just throw a dimension on that to check it. So we'll check the first one, and that's a 3. And then I'll click this distance, and you can see that's a 5. So we have a 3, 5 chamfer. Undo that. And I'll reapply the chamfer command. This time I'll pick it from the curve toolbar, and it's this command right here. Now rather than clicking on distance, I can just type a number. So let me just type 5. And it automatically knows I'm trying to change that distance, so it'll prompt me for a second chamfer distance. And I'll make this one a 2. So we should have a very kind of lopsided looking chamfer this time. And again, for the first chamfer, I'm going to click on this curve. You could click on either curve. I'm just choosing here each time to be consistent. And then we click here. So as you see, we have a chamfer that's a 5, 2 chamfer. 5 and 2. Zoom out just a little bit. Reapply the chamfer command. And let's get that back to a standard chamfer. So let me put something you're going to be able to see. I'll make it an 8, 8. And just like the fillet curve command, the lines don't actually have to be touching. We'll go ahead and draw that line in between them. And just like the fillet curve command, I can type a 0. And it'll go ahead and draw the corner points for me. Let's go ahead and chamfer this cube. Apply the command again. I'll do a 3, 3 chamfer. And then for comparison, let me do a 6, 3 chamfer. So you can see the difference between an equilateral chamfer and an offset chamfer. I'll press the spacebar and apply the chamfer command again. Let's do an 8, 8 chamfer. And then one more time, and I'll do a 1, 1 chamfer. Chamfers work on the inside and the outside of curves as well. Let me do a 3, 3. And then on the inside. So you can go around the whole object and do that. If you have a lot of chamfers to do, under the toolbar, if you right-click on the chamfer command, you're under the repeat chamfer. And it'll just keep going as long as you keep clicking. And even though you're in the repeat chamfer command, you can actually change the distance. So let me do a 2, 2 chamfer. And then it'll keep doing 2, 2 chamfers from here on out. And just enter to apply that command. Unfortunately, unlike the fillet curve command, there's no command that applies a chamfer to an entire polyline at once. So the closest you can get, as we looked at, is right-clicking on the chamfer tool and then just walking through and chamfering each corner without having to reapply the command anyway. And that concludes our look at the chamfer command.